Okay. We are yet back to our lesson. Dear students, I hope you're very okay. Yeah, we left when we had actually worked on 2 paragraphs of this story, and we had focused on how the writer builds the story sentence by sentence until when we make a paragraph, and how the paragraphs do succeed each other. Now we move straight to our 3rd paragraph. Remember where the story started, with frightening sound, the writer taking off to seek refuge together with his young brothers in a cave that he referred to as a primordial cave. It had stayed there for quite a long time. Let us straight away move to the next thing. After darkness conquering the earth and they have moved to the cave, what happens next? The next paragraph says, "When I reached where our hut had stood, sorrow was indelibly printed in my heart." That means the writer has now moved from the cave to the hut, filled with sorrow. I want us to focus on that word, indelibly printed in my heart. When you look at the word indelibly, it comes from indelible. Indelible. Now, indelibly, the one we are looking at, is acting as an adverb, which means indelible is an adjective. I want us to look at the meaning of indelible. Indelible means something is printed permanently and it is hard to erase. It sticks. Take an example. Maybe you have not reached voter's age, but when you go voting, the thumb is dipped in indelible ink because they don't want you to vote again. Even when you wash your hands, the ink does not move. It is indelible. It sticks there. Now, the sorrow is indelibly printed in the heart of the writer. Why? Because there are so many things that have happened to him that cause sadness. And this sadness is hard to erase, hard to remove. He cannot forget what he has gone through. The king's men have been conquered by the Zulu warriors, and they are taking off with the young brothers to look for refuge. The sorrow is permanently printed in the writer's heart. And then he says, "I listened to the rites of my relatives begging me in lingua franca to avenge their ignominious death." There are beautiful words there. One of them is their rites. What does this mean? When you look at the word, it sounds like the wraith, but this one is different. We are used to wreath, which is this flower that is put on somebody's grave, but this one has AI. What does wraith mean? This one instead means a ghost. So he has sorrow imprinted, relatives have been taken away, and then the ghosts of people that died long ago are begging him to avenge their death. He should take action. He should revenge. He should pay back to the people that have caused the misery. Remember, the title of the story is The Misery of Affliction. So wraiths, in simple language, means ghost of that person that died some time back. Obviously, a ghost comes as a result of death. We cannot, maybe you have never heard of somebody seeing a ghost of a living person. We only see ghosts of people that are already dead. The next word is ignominious, as you see it there, to avenge their ignominious death. These people want him to revenge. Ignominious, as written there, ignominious, this one simply means shameful. If you want to use a simpler word to mean the same, we can talk of disgraceful, or we can say shameful. For example, here we are talking of ignominious death. We can talk of ignominious defeat. Take an example. Aga Khan House had ignominious defeat in the inter-house music drama competition. Shamefully, the Aga Khan House lost. So ignominious means shameful. Somebody can have shameful behavior, ignominious behavior. These people want the writer to avenge their shameful death. I want us to move to the next paragraph, that then we see where the story takes us. The writer continues to say, I sat lugubriously, thinking of how to start the revenge. Remember, the ghosts have called unto him. They are provoking him. They are calling him to avenge their shameful death. Then he sits to think. But he sat lugubriously. Look at the way the writer uses these words that match one another. In the previous paragraph, we looked at the word sorrow, that ordinary word. And now the writer is talking of lugubrious. These two words are in line. Sorrow comes as a result of sadness. I sat lugubriously. If I say you're wearing a lugubrious face, that means you're wearing a very sad face. Now this person sits sadly. So you realize that sorrow and sadness are in the same context. The story is taking the same line right from the start. We are dealing with misery, and the choice of words is very appropriate because it points right back to the misery. There's great sorrow, there's great sadness. The beautiful word there that takes us to another level as far as writing is concerned is lugubrious, which simply means sad. I sat lugubriously, thinking of how to start the revenge, since I had been left with nothing. The primogeniture system had lost meaning to me, since all the property that my father owned had been destroyed. Now we are bombarded with a very big word there, which is primogeniture. What does the writer mean by primogeniture? The primogeniture system. What does this mean? Primogeniture means the fact of being a firstborn. The fact of being a firstborn. So the primogeniture system now is the firstborn, and it is clearly reflected. He is the firstborn since the kinsmen have been taken and is left with the children. He alerts us that he has that responsibility. The primogeniture system had lost meaning to me, since all the property that my father owned had been destroyed. Previously we saw him having the right to inherit all the property, him being the firstborn. Now this system, he says, this thing of being the firstborn is losing meaning. Now, being the firstborn, he was supposed to own all the property, to inherit all the property. But all the property has been taken by the Zulu warriors. He has nothing. So this system has lost sense to him. It is not holding any meaning. Property has been destroyed by the Zulu warriors. So whether he's firstborn or not, now it does not make any sense. Even the young ones that he's protecting right now are as good as he is. The next sentence says, when I looked around and saw the whole village scorched, I realized that I had been procrastinated in avenging the death of my people. We feel so sad. This writer is left all by himself, and the only people he has around him are children, young children that are quite helpless. He has to find a way without anybody's help. So there are moments, several moments, when we see him trying to think of what to do next. Now he says he looked around the whole village, and the village was scorched. Another new word there, scorched. What does the writer mean by scorched? Our village has been scorched. It has been scorched. Scorched means had come to an end. If something stops happening, then it is scorched. So the whole village is scorched. It has stopped happening. And he says he's thinking of how he can avenge this death, having the whole village scorched. I want us to get back to the paragraph. A moment. The village is cooked, everything has come to an end. And we have seen why everything has come to an end. So we move on. The whole village was scorched. I realized that I had been procrastinated in avenging the death of my people. The next word there is to procrastinate. What is to procrastinate? That is a verb. Remember, we have to look for the meaning as and word class. Procrastinate is a verb, and it means delaying doing something you should do because you don't want to. He feels he does not want to avenge the death of his people, because if he avenges the death of his people, he will be as good as the people that have come to attack them and taken people's lives. So he says, I realized I had been procrastinated in avenging the death of my people. He's delaying. He realizes he has to take action. I should not delay. We say people were dying of hunger. For example, people were dying of hunger while the government procrastinated. The people are dying of hunger and the government is delaying to take action. The senior fours are not sitting their final exams and the ministry is procrastinating. It is delaying to take action to ensure that the exams come and the senior fours sit them. That is another beautiful word that you should borrow and try to use it and practice it and then place it in the stories that you write. We move to the next paragraph. The following day I went to the forest and dexteriously whittled fighting weapons, most especially the magnum opus spears. They are very powerful words here. When you talk of magnum opus spears and you're writing the story, then someone can tell that you're a student of Chibuli Secondary School. What we are looking for here is English, and we are seeing the English come into action. Remember, we are running away from the day-to-day English, and we want to punctuate these sentences with very beautiful words that are unique. The first one here is dexteriously. The following day I went to the forest and dexteriously. We have seen this word before. I think some of you should be knowing it. Dexterous is the adjective. Dexteriously is the adverb, because it is modifying this verb, whittled. So dexteriously means skillfully, with a lot of skill. So he dexteriously whittles fighting weapons. To whittle is to mold, to put into place. So with a lot of skill, he tries to manufacture. If he's using metals here, then he's manufacturing a fighting weapon. So he skillfully manufactures a fighting weapon, and he says most especially magnum opus spears. What does magnum opus spear mean? Magnum opus is one word, and this means a work of art that appears the best. So he skillfully creates or manufactures a fighting weapon that happens to be the best. If we look at art and we are classifying different people, who is the best? If we are to score marks, who is to get 10 out of 10, then magnum opus means you have made the best piece of art. So he comes up with the best spear. Remember, we saw the other people, the Zulu warriors, also carrying spears, and they have what we term as the short stabbing spear. So we have moved, he has made his spear. Then he says, early the following morning, as the sky early the following morning, as the sky minute. Early the following morning, as the sky opened skillfully, early the following morning, as the sky opened scornfully, one of its enormous eyes, like a one-eyed giant, I attacked Zululand. Now he has the spear that is skillfully made, and it is the best piece of art, and he thinks he has all it takes for him to attack the Zulu warriors. So in the morning he wakes up. Look at the progression of the story. The sounds, the taking away of the kinsmen, the seeking for refuge in the cave. He's sitting and thinking of what to do next. He's molding a spear, and then he's taking on the attack. So he moves to go and attack Zululand. He says, early the following morning, as the sky opened scornfully. I was talking about word choice. We looked at sorrow, then we looked at lugubrious, that a reflection of sadness. Now scornfully. If I talk to you with scorn, I talk to you with sadness. Now the sky scornfully opens one of its eyes, which means daylight had come. Instead of plainly saying the next day, the writer skillfully molds the words and puts them figuratively. And he says, the sky scornfully opened its enormous eye. Enormous, as if the sky has eyes. That is personification, and it is a skill as far as writing is concerned. The sky is being personified like a human being carrying enormous eyes. And you look at the meaning of the word enormous, which means big. Still the writer has run away from the ordinary word, which is big, and is employing enormous. The sky opens its big eye, which means daylight had come. And at the same time, the personification has been married to the use of a simile, because the sentence says, the sky scornfully opened one of its enormous eyes like a one-eyed giant. The word like is equating it to a one-eyed giant. If the giant has one eye, this one eye is opened wide because it is serving the purpose of the second eye in order to see clearly. So this daylight comes, and now he's painted a vivid picture in our minds to know how the daylight comes like a one-eyed man. And we move on. Daylight has come. Having seen molding the spear and is attacking Zululand, we do not expect anything good here, much as we have not moved to the next paragraph. What do we expect? We are anticipating something to do with a fight, something to do with war, because he has gone to attack in order to avenge the death of his people. Let's see, does he make it there? Or he fails? Um, he attacks Zululand with great enthusiasm. Here they have made a typing error. That is supposed to be, he attacks Zululand with great enthusiasm. You can make corrections there. Those are two words, great enthusiasm. And we know enthusiasm is great excitement and is so determined. He says, single-handedly, I fought the Zulu warriors zealously and humbled them. Bravo! Zealously, we have seen the meaning of the word zeal. With great zeal. Zeal is skill and energy. He zealously fights the Zulu warriors single-handedly and he humbles them, which means he managed to win this war. He has avenged the shameful death of his people because the ghosts were crying out for him, telling him, please do something. These people have taken our lives. You are our only rescue. You are only our savior. He's a great warrior. He's a hero. So the land will look at him as a hero because of his heroic action. We move to the next paragraph. My clansmen, whom they had taken as war captives, were finally rescued. So when he humbles them, he manages to rescue the clansmen that we saw in the first paragraph being captured by the Zulu warriors. I gathered as many herds of cattle from Zulu as possible, and with the help of my clansmen, I drove them home. He's a very bright man. He does not come back empty-handed. The Zulu warriors went with his people, so what does he decide? He also gets their cattle and takes them back home. We might not necessarily look at him as a thief, but remember, this whole story is about revenge. Revenging death and revenging the actions, the brutal actions of the Zulu warriors. When we move on, he says, when we arrived home, all the men and women danced fervently to the rhythm of the xylophone. They are dancing fervently. Remember in our lessons, fervently, to the rhythm, fervently, to the rhythm of the xylophone. Now we are looking at word modification. The verb dance, ordinary verb, has been modified by this adverb, and they are describing the manner in which the dancing is done. They are dancing fervently. What is the meaning of fervently? This adjective means with great admiration. They are dancing, giving in sincere feelings about their action. They are dancing the whole of themselves. Remember, this dance is in celebration of the victory that they have acquired, having won the Zulu warriors, having rescued their kinsmen that were captured. If we want to look for another word that means fervent, you can also employ ardent. Ardent and fervent are synonyms. They mean the same thing. Dancing or doing something with great admiration, with great support, with great belief. When you move on, we have another word there. It says fervently to the rhythm of the xylophone. The xylophone is played by my little brother. Joy throbbed and flowed through my veins. That word throbbed. Joy throbbed and flowed through my veins. Joy is springing. To thaw is the same as to spring. So his whole being is filled with joy in celebration. As I watched them gyrating in bliss. What is the meaning of gyrating? We always look at this. Gyrating. Sorry. We always look at this, to gyrate. Gyrating in bliss. To gyrate is to move from side to side. Take an example. I looked at the young girl gyrating her hips as she walked down the aisle. You know, the hips are moving side to side. Now this one is gyrating in bliss. They are moving from one corner to another in great happiness. So there are two good words there, gyrating and bliss. And you know bliss, this one replaces the tired word, which is happiness. Bliss is the same word as happiness. Bliss is the noun, blissful is the adjective, blissfully is the adverb. So they say gyrating in bliss, like raka raka dancers. People who come from the north, they know raka raka. They are the ones who dance raka raka. And when they are dancing, they you know, the dance is in celebration of something, and they do it with great happiness. So even these people, having won the battle, they are filled with happiness, and they are dancing like the raka raka dancers. And the final sentence says, the village had once again gained its rapturous amity. The last two words we look at, rapturous. They talk of a rapture in the Bible. Say when God comes towards the end of the world, there will be a rapture. According to what I know about the rapture, some people will go to heaven just like that. And now here we have rapturous. What does rapturous mean? Is it in line with the rapture? No, this rapturous means expressing great pleasure. So they are rapturously, they are gaining, the village is gaining its rapturous amity. Amity means a friendly relationship. So we are having a moment of happiness as the village goes back to normal, gains its normal life. People are living happily, relating with one another in harmony. So when they talk about rapturous amity, that means that they are gaining harmony. We can talk of a rapturous welcome. I welcome you with great happiness and pleasure when you visit my home. That means I've given you a rapturous welcome. So my dear students, when you look at this short piece, this could be very short according to what we are required to write in our examinations, but you should know that it is so pregnant with very beautiful words, and this is how far we have to go in preparation for our coming exams. I wish you the best. I pray that you use these words and practice them. Further, look at the dictionary and master them. Look at the sentences used there with these words and try to write your stories in preparation for the exams that are as beautiful as the piece we have seen here. I wish you the best. Goodbye.